So let's talk about Premix. And there's something interesting happening in the industry, really, about automation and what have you. We have here the administrator of the National Premix Secretariat, Nana Broko Asare, to help us understand what the issues are. All right, Nana, so we hear something called the fuel automation machine. What really is it about?
Thank you very much. The automation machine is a system that we have put in place to streamline the sales and distribution of Premix Fuel across the country. And if you look at this project, it's a clear demonstration of government commitment to solving the many issues that have plagued the sale and distribution of Premix Fuel. So this system is going to streamline the sales, the distribution, to make sure there's efficiency in its distribution, to make sure there's fairness, to make sure that the fishermen are content and the fishermen are happy, and to make sure that right beneficiaries benefit from Premix Fuel.
How does this align with the government's commitment towards using technology, for nation building?
To begin with, I would like to give you some background. Premix Fuel is highly subsidized by government. Hitherto was subsidized to a tune of about 85%. That should tell you that government is committed to understanding the plight of fisher folks, because the cost of expedition, fuel is one of the most expensive components as far as fishing is concerned. So government saw it necessary to see how they can support our fisher folks. But unfortunately, over the years, we've had a lot of irregularities in the sales. We've had a lot of issues. We've had a lot of hoarding. We've had a lot of issues with regards to middlemen buying Premix Fuel and then selling it to our fisher folks. And it's been a worry to government. It's been a worry to the fisher folks as well. So what happens is that at the end of the day, the ordinary fisherman doesn't stand to benefit from the subsidies that we are talking about. So government saw it wise to solve this problem. Initially, we've done a lot of education. We've done a lot of law enforcement, but we realized that we are not able to holistically prevent these issues from happening. So government saw it wise to introduce cutting-edge technology to solve the problems that we find ourselves in, so that we can take away the middlemen and make sure that the right beneficiaries get the fuel. So this is going to be a game changer as far as the fishing expedition, or as far as Premix Fuel is concerned. It's going to make sure that the right people are getting the fuel. It's also going to make sure that they buy fuel at the right cost. And this is a clear demonstration that government is committed to solving the problems of the fisher folks. And this system is going to make use of cutting-edge technology. We live in a modern world in the 21st century. It is high time we use technology to make sure we push development forward. It's high time we use technology to make sure that at least we're able to solve the problems that confront us. So this system is going to be a stopper. This system is going to bring a lot of efficiency, and it's going to make sure that we have a very clean system as far as fuel distribution is concerned.
Interesting. I mean, when it comes to Premix Secretariat, we thought that you deal with the distribution of fuel. So now that you're bringing technology involved, then there must be some collaborators. What is the collaboration in here?
Yes. To begin, I would also want to take the opportunity to thank His Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He's the brainchild of this project. Some time ago, he made a declaration that it's high time we digitize Premix Fuel and distribution. And he's been a very good supporter of this project. I would also take the opportunity to thank the Sector Minister. She's also been on her feet, Honorable Mavis Hawakumsin. It is a collaboration. So you look at the ministry, we look at stakeholders like the fisher folks themselves. They've been very, very supportive to this cause because they are the end beneficiaries. We've been working with stakeholders like Ministry of Energy, NPA, and all relevant stakeholders to make sure this project happens. So it's been a collaborative effort, but we can't take out especially the end users. They've been very, very supportive because in time past, they've had a lot of middlemen who are cheating them. You've had people who would buy Premix Fuel, hoard it, sell it at exorbitant prices, etc. So it's been a collaboration with all stakeholders. Of course, the ministry has been the forefront of this project. The National Premix Fuel Secretariat, which is an agency under the Ministry of Fisheries, we are the men on the ground, all the staff. We've made sure that this project sees the light of day. And if you look across the country, we have 300 landing beaches across the country. And I can tell you that this project is far advancing. Fisher folks are excited about it. All relevant stakeholders are also very much excited about this project.
Now, you spoke about hoarding and sometimes diversion that we do here. How is this project going to help in preventing diversion and hoarding of this food?
All right, so we run a current system where anybody at all can walk to a landing beach and claims he or she is a fisherman. And Premix Fuel, as we have it, is about 90% super. So the super that you use for your car, Premix Fuel is about 90% super. It just has engine oil mixed with it. So Premix Fuel has other uses. But we at the Ministry of Fisheries intended to power only outboard motors. But you find people like Okada riders who come and buy Premix Fuel and put it in their motorcycles. You even find people who are able to buy it in large quantities and go and sell it to filling stations, and then they dilute it and then sell it to unsuspecting victims. You have people who buy it for farming activities. So because it's highly subsidized, so they prefer to buy it very, very cheap. Premix Fuel was sold, a gallon of Premix Fuel was sold for about 7 cedis, 20 pesos. It was until recently that we increased it to about 24 cedis. You know, so that should tell you the difference, because a gallon of fuel today is about 70 cedis, about 80 cedis. You know, so if you compare it, people stand to benefit a lot if they're able to buy this Premix Fuel and hoard it and then resell it. It goes against government. So this and many other things, we realize that, look, at the end of the day, government doesn't benefit from it. So why don't we safeguard it and make sure that the only intended use, that is the fisher folks, we make sure that at least they get the Premix Fuel. Because in previous times, you go to landing beaches and fishermen will complain that the Premix Fuel is not enough, it's not to our satisfaction. It's because other people come and also buy. People want to make profit at the back of government. So at the end of the day, you realize fishermen were not satisfied. So what do? We just can't sit down and only complain about the problems. Like I said, we've done a lot of education, we've done a lot of enforcement, but this technology is going to be a stopper, because fishermen today will be given unique cards. Every canoe is going to get a card. So if you don't have a card, you have no business at our dispensing units, and it's going to be controlled, it's going to be monitored right from tow right to the landing beach. So we're also going to have a dashboard that sees the amount of fuel every canoe is using. So periodically we'll be auditing it to make sure that the canoes are getting the fuel. Middlemen cannot have access to it. It would also reduce the quantities that goes into some of these illegal activities. We are hoping that at least we can reduce it to the barest minimum, so that after all, it's only fishermen who are going to get the fuel. There's another twist even to the story where we've been trying to fight the issue of light fishing. Fishermen today use generators to go for fishing, which is very, very illegal. And a lot of them, after buying fuel for their outboard motor, also buy fuel for their generator. You know, so all of this puts pressure on the quantities of fuel we have to give to these fisher folks. But if you're able to regulate it, and going forward, we want to even put some capping on it and say, look, we know the kind of expedition that you go for. You're entitled to, let's say, 40 drams for the entire month. You know, this would regulate and make sure that at least we safeguard and also make savings to government.
Wanted to intentionally put some people up, because if you decide that canoe A will require 40 gallons a month, probably in February, canoe A will need 80. Expect him at 40, so he won't get the 40. How does he then get it?
Yes, like I'm saying, Premix Fuel is highly subsidized. And if you look nowhere in the world, can you enjoy subsidy in perpetuity, especially when that commodity has other uses, you know. So if you don't put controls in, if you don't put checks in there, you'd always have issues. It's just like fertilizer. It's subsidized by government, so you cannot say you're going to give it in perpetuity or as many as you may want, because at the end of the day, you find people who may want to smuggle it to other neighboring countries, so you need to put in control. So this capping system, we've now started the engagement. We are going to sit with all the stakeholders, the fishermen themselves. They know averagely how much they use. Just like your car, you can give an average figure that you can use for the month. We may not be able to get it exactly, but we need to start from somewhere, and we need to put in controls if we want to save government some money, and if we want to make sure that fishermen also benefit from this system, we of course need to put in some controls to make sure the system is effective and is efficient.
You made mention of a dashboard,
yes,
and other mechanisms. Is that what is going to give you real-time monitoring of what's happening, or there are some other things you're going to add on?
Exactly. This system is a real-time monitoring device. Right from our office, we are able to even see what is happening in the tanks. We are able to see the stock levels. So, of course, in previous times, when fuel is dispensed into the tank, there are times where fishermen can even connive with this middleman and then siphon everything out in the next 1 hour or 2 hours. So this is real time, and it's going to trigger, if anything is going wrong, there are triggers at every level to make sure that even this canoe is not taking more than is required, you know. So it gives us real-time monitoring. We also have a database of all the canoes in the system, so any canoe that is not in the system cannot buy. And even to begin with, if you don't have access to the card, you can't, the machine is not even going to dispense fuel to you. So this is an airtight system. We want to make sure that the controls are there to minimize all the illegalities that confront us today.
This brings in mind transparency and accountability.
Yes.
Yes, you're going to see the real time and what have you.
Yeah.
But how does this system help not you alone, but all of us who are stakeholders of this, to then, measure how transparent and accountable the system and the secretariat will be in managing Premix?
All right. So this system is going to be very, very transparent. If you look at the system or current system that we have, it's a cash system. You know, fishermen sometimes come to the landing beach and they use manual system in dispensing the fuel. There are times where they are even shortchanged. You want to buy, let's say, 40 liters. They have their own way of calculating. Sometimes at the end of the day, you're giving 35, you're giving 30. I remember very well when we had to test run the system. Fishermen were very, very excited because they saw value for money. Going forward, we even want to take the cash out of the system, where you are able to load your money onto your card. So when we take cash out of the system, it also reduces the corruption. It reduces people having access to money and using it for some of these illegal activities. So it's going to be very, very transparent. From the dashboard, journalists can easily come to the secretariat. We'll be able to project for you to see all the data, the fishermen getting the fuel, where this fuel is going to, who is receiving what, and what have you. So it's going to be very, very transparent. We're also working with MPA. They are the regulators. So on their system, they would also be able to monitor what is happening. Ministry of Energy would also have access to it. So everybody real time will be able to monitor what is happening across the country, right down to what is happening even in the tank. So this is the most transparent and efficient system you can ever have.
Well, we live in a country where, you just heard the other time when the Minister for Foreign Affairs was lamenting about how some people are sabotaging the online passport application system. So it means that whatever you do, people will find a way to go around the system. How will the system, ensure that it is able to, cope with people who would want to go around it to perpetuate their, illegal business? Yeah,
that reminds me of a proverb that says that as long as the bird learned how to fly without perching, the hunter also learned to shoot without missing. Yes, of course. When projects like this are ongoing, I'm sure the other unscrupulous people would also be trying to find ways and means to work around the system. This is an up-to-date machine. This is a cutting-edge technology that is able to adapt to the changing demands and of our needs, you know. And at every point in time, we have engineers that have studied this system to make sure, one, like I said, is very, very watertight, to make sure we close all the loopholes. We studied the system for some time. We know of all the illegalities across the chain. I think we've piloted this project. Currently, even MP has a way of even monitoring even our tankers right from Tor to the landing beach. But we realized that we need a holistic system that will be able to reduce all of these illegalities. So this system, to begin with, is airtight. Okay. You know, it will be extremely difficult to circumvent your way around it. But the second feature about it, like I said, it has a way of adapting, you know, has a way of changing. So as we go along, as we realize the challenges along the line, it will be able to adapt to the needs of what we specifically want to do. When the system started initially, it wasn't even supposed to be it was supposed to be even a cash system. But because of the way the card is, we realized we will be able to even load money onto the card. So it's made in such a way that we'll be able to change to suit our specific needs and to make sure that nobody's able to circumvent around it.
Okay. And this system will be launched on the 29th of August?
Yes.
In Elmina?
Yes.
How does this tie into government's, you know, whole issue about technology, innovation, and to bring about efficiency in the system?
Yes, the system will be launched on 29th of August by the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Like I said earlier on, this project is his brainchild, you know, and we thank God for how far we have come. And this project is a clear demonstration of government's intention to use technology for progress and for advancement. We live in a world today that we need to take advantage of technology. There are many areas in our country today that we are using technology to solve or to reduce some of the illegalities. And I am happy that Premix Fuel distribution hasn't been left out. You know, we have always made the case that the only way we can change the front or the sales and distribution is the use of technology. We've made the case several times, and I'm very excited that by the grace of God, ending of the month, we'll see the launch of this project. And then across the length of and breadth of the country, fishermen can now appreciate the use of technology in their daily activities.
This obviously will not solve the issue about shortage of premix, right? What are you doing in that regard?
In one way, it will go a long way to solve the shortage. Like I mentioned to you, currently, a lot of people who depend on premix are not actual end users. Like I told you, the system is so porous today that you find people who are not even fishermen who come and buy Premix Fuel and use it for their own needs. People even buy it and put it in their generators at home. People put it in their machines that are two-stroke engines, etc. So if you're able to launch this project, aside the other benefits that would inure to us, like the health and safety needs and what have you, it's also going to reduce all of these people that are not supposed to get Premix Fuel. So if that is done, it means that there will be enough, one, for fishermen. So that will also help us address the issue of shortage. That notwithstanding, government is still committed to ensure that we have enough Premix Fuel in the system to be able to fill these machines. It is our hope that the machines will not even run empty before we refill, because now in our office we'll be able to tell that this tank is running out, so we need to refill. So we'll also address, we'll go a long way to address the shortages that we've been having, and that is our intention, that at the end of this all, the shortages will be solved, the hoarding will be solved, the sale of Premix Fuel at exorbitant prices than we intended to be would also be solved. So it is a holistic approach in solving all the problems that currently faces us.
But in the current system, if it's running out,
yes,
the LBCs will call you that our fuel has run out.
Yes.
And sometimes we do get complaints of LBCs who would wait for like a week, two, they're not getting the fuel. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Aside this, which is a brilliant idea, what else are we doing to ensure that together with this, we don't have this shortage that impacts negatively on the industry?
Yes, there's a lot that is being done. Starting from this year, we started the use of condensates. Condensate is a byproduct from our gas plant in Etwabo. We realized that studies were done between MPA, Standard Board. We realized that because initially Premix Fuel is highly, like I said, about 90% of super and a bit of engine oil. super is also influenced by world prices. I remember last year was one of our most difficult years for us, especially on the onset of the Ukraine-Russia war. It was difficult for us because fuel prices were increasing, so it became very difficult for government to bear that whole cost. But after these studies, we realized that we can introduce condensate, which we have in abundance. So it reduces the super component. That means it also reduces the amount of subsidy government is pumping it into it. So we are solving the problems holistically. We are looking at how we can increase the supply. We're also in discussion with Tama Oil Refinery. Previous years they've had challenges. We've been talking to them to make sure they have state-of-the-art equipment to be able to blend the required numbers that we want, so that at least there'll be fuel every time for the fisher folk. So gradually, I think we are getting somewhere. We are making progress, and we know definitely very soon most of the problems that confront us will be a thing of the past.
Well, we can't talk about Premix without talking about politics. I've heard that you're running for, you're from Esojaman. Right?
Esojaman, yes, in the eastern region.
And you're running for the seat.
Yes, I'm running. I'm contesting the upcoming primaries on the ticket of the MPP.
I mean, what is that drive?
Yeah.
That gives you the motivation that I have to do this.
All right. If you look at the problems currently in Esojaman, there are a lot of problems currently confronting my constituency. Talk about infrastructure, job creation, education. I realized that the constituency has a lot of potential that has been left untapped. And it's that drive to make sure we synergize all of this potential and make sure that things happen. We want to bring hope, especially to the youth. We want to create opportunities. We want to create employment. We want to make sure that the constituency is self-sufficient. We want to make sure that at least there is some sort of life, there's some sort of respite. People are happy, people are content, things are moving on. Infrastructure is connecting to other projects. We have a lot of farming communities. What are we doing in agriculture? It is this drive to bring solution to my people. It is what is pushing me to contest for the upcoming primaries, and then hopefully also win the seat for my party MPP. And that is the drive that is keeping me alive.
What is that dream for Esojaman, for which gives you that burning fuel to say, let me do this?
Yes.
What is the dream for Esojaman?
I want Esojaman to be the constituency of choice. I want it to be, if you look at the demographics, even geographics of Esojaman, it is a constituency that I believe has a lot of potential. And I believe that if you're able to position ourselves very well, you look at Accra now. Accra is expanding. I can do from Accra to Akosombo in about the district capital is at Timpuku. I can do it in an hour. There's so much we can do. A lot of factories can even be set up. We have a very good connecting road to Accra. Unfortunately, some other roads in the constituency are not in the best of shape. But if you look at the connecting road from here to the district capital, it's not too far from Accra. That alone is even a plus for us. If you look at the railway project that is happening, the Mpakadan project, I mean, very soon there's going to be a port there, and it passes through. It terminates in my constituency. Okay. Then there's a ferry that takes you to the north. That alone is a huge potential for us. It's going to open up the constituency. Any constituency that you have a port there, it's going to increase trading, and it can be a hub. It can even be a food basket. Because there's a rail there. We're able to transport food to Accra and other parts of the country. So I believe there's a lot of potential. We talk about tourism. We have almost all the best hotels you can find in Ghana, you find in the constituency. One other thing that we also have is the river body. It's more like an island. And I ask myself, how many, I'm a farmer myself, how many agricultural farms do we have there that is even utilizing the water body that we have? So there's so much that is left on tap. And I believe I'm the right man to put all of these things together to make sure the youth in the community, in the constituency stay. When people have jobs to do, they don't migrate to Accra to look for anything. Okay. So that is the hope that I want to bring. And that is my core message. I've been engaging delegates, I've been engaging the constituents, and they realize that this is the man they want. I've been around the constituency for some time. I've used my foundation. I've been helping the constituency for so many years now, and I believe now is the time to be able to serve my constituents on a bigger scale. When I become their MP, I'll have the platform to push more for them. I'll have the opportunity to bring more respite to them. I'll have the opportunity to represent them also in Parliament and make sure that their voice is heard.
You're an engineer.
Yes.
I know you have background in geoscience as well.
Yeah, petroleum geoscience.
And law.
Yeah, and law as well.
How do you intend leveraging on all of this?
I think that is leadership. In leadership, you sometimes need a multi-background. It gives you different perspectives when you are tackling issues. You know, when it comes to law, I know how to apply it. When it comes to my engineering, I know how to. So I'm also a businessman. You know, so that's multi-background. I believe is also a very good trump card for me. Anytime I'm in the constituency, there are times where I even join my constituents to go to farm because I'm a farmer myself. You know, I'm able to understand their plight and I'm able to give them tailored solutions to their problems. When it comes to business, there are a lot of local entrepreneurs in the constituency. There are times I meet them, we share ideas, we look at how we can progress their business, etc. So this is the kind of man you're looking for. Aside me even cutting across all the, I mentioned about the demographics and the ethnicity. So your man also has almost every tribe in the constituency, and I cut across almost all the tribes also in the constituency. So I'm able to relate to constituents on every level, and it makes them appreciate the kind of work that we want to do. And I believe if I'm given the mandate, we can do more for the constituency.
You said you have an NGO, so it means that you've undertaken some.
Oh, we've done a lot of projects. Just not too long ago, just last 2 weeks, we were able to partner with our partners from the USA. Brought a lot of medical supplies, worth about $50,000 to the constituency. We've done a lot of screening, breast screening, doing breast cancer awareness. So we've done so many things for the constituency, education. We've been there for them. And we hope to do more for them.
You feel you can beat the MP there?
It's not a problem at all. It's not a problem. We have the strategies and we know how to win the seat. Okay. We're just hoping that at the end of the day, our primaries is coming up shortly. The primaries is my focus now. Right after the primaries, of course, we have plans for the general election as well. I have everything well planned, and wait and see. At the end of the day, I'm the incoming MP for Sujaman constituency.
Okay, great. Beautiful. I love your guts. Yeah.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
All the best. But now, as you said, your focus is on the pending primary.
Yes.
Your delegate will be watching you now.
Yeah.
What kind of message do you have for them?
Yes, it's simple. I've continuously been preaching for unity. We need a united front. Sujaman is not a difficult constituency, especially for the MPP. The gap has always been very close. The last election we lost just a little under 1,200. You know, if we put our acts together very well, we get a right candidate. I think we've also had issues in terms of candidate. If you're able to position ourselves very well, present a very formidable front, and we are united, and we should be able to clinch the seat from the NDC. We've had an MP that has been there for 8 years. He was a DC for 4 years, 12 years cumulatively. We've not seen much change. We've not seen much improvement. So we need to be united. It's an internal elections. All delegates to be rest assured. We are one family. After the elections, God willing, I'm going to be the PC. Let's all unite our front and go into this election. And I know definitely we'll be victorious.
All the best, yeah?
Thank you very much.
Sure, and I know that things will be happening.
Great.
But just before I let you go,
all right.
Nigeria
all right.
has taken off subsidy from Premix.
Yes.
Why aren't we able to do the same?
It's a process. You know, I believe we stand, if you compare Nigeria and Ghana, it's a different zone as compared to us. If you look at our fishing, we do a lot of fishing than Nigeria. We have very suitable, conditions as far as fishing is concerned, and we need to take it in steps. Initially, like I told you, the subsidy was about 85%. We've reduced the subsidy to about 50%. We have to sit down with the fishermen for them to understand the way forward. You know, and our fisher folks have also been very supportive to our GDP. They've contributed a lot to the country. And if you look at our protein intake, fish is one of the most we take in fish even more than we take meat. So whatever decision that we take, we must think about it very carefully and also make sure we stagger it, make sure they understand it. We are talking about this technology. If this technology comes in and they embrace it and it's working for them, we can also introduce other measures. Then we can take them off slowly if we want to if we want to take it off. So if you go anywhere in the world, even the US, other countries, they still put in some subsidies for fisher folks.
So,
you know.
So will there be a time where probably subsidies will be a time?
That's an entirely government decision. I wouldn't be able to say a yes or no to it. But for now, what I can say is government is committed to supporting fisher folks. The support can come in various angles. There have even been people who have postulated that, okay, the subsidy can even be taken off and giving them some insurance. We've been trying to look at it from various angles, you know, but we want to take it progressively, you know, because Premix Fuel has been there for, well, about 20 years now, you know, so if you want to take them off suddenly, it may also create its own problems. You know, it can even affect a whole lot. Fish is going to be very... We are all beneficiaries of Premix. You don't get Premix Fuel, you don't take Premix Fuel, but at the end of the day, you buy fish at a certain price because government is subsidizing it for you. So if you want to take subsidy, you're also a stakeholder. You know, so it's a whole chain. You know, we have to look at it critically and carefully. But it's an entirely government decision to take. Of course, we are there as policymakers, we are there as guides. There are times where government engages us. We also tell them what is on the ground. But at the end of the day, governments will take that decision. But for now, what I can say is that government is committed in ensuring that they support our fisher folks. That is what they are committed to doing now.